All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for The Dan Bongino Show.
So before we get started, I just want to send my condolences to the family of Kyle Busch. What a just tragic, awful story. Again, I'm sorry on a Friday to open up with bad news if you haven't heard, but I'm very sorry for my condolences to the family. What a horrible story. 41 years old. And listen, it just goes back to what I tell you all the time. Apparently he contracted some illness. I don't know what it is. It's his family's business at this point. But man, grab your loved ones, folks. I tell you all the time, when you grab your kids, your loved ones, you know, your wife, your grandmother, your mom, your dad, you know, make sure you tell them, like, I love you. Not just love you, I love you. I personalize, you know. It was really a terrible story. I couldn't believe it. I was sitting home yesterday, of all things, I'm making the next morning's protein shake, and I hear on Fox, Kyle Busch, I'm like, what the hell happened there? And unbelievable. So, and my condolences to the family. What a horrible story. I've got a lot to talk about today. You know, I want to tell you kind of an inside baseball story. So the Laura Ingraham show, obviously on Fox, very popular show, love Laura. They reach out, they say, hey, can you come on and talk about this whole Democrat party, how they're falling apart with working class voters, especially white male voters. I'm like, you're damn right. They're like, hey, man, you know, where do you want to go with this? I said, listen, I just sent back an email. I said, I got a lot to say on this. So I got some feedback on last night's a hit, they call them in the business, a hit, an appearance, whatever. But I got only two kinds of feedback last night, and that's rare. People on Twitter, on email. The first type of feedback was, man, that was really awesome. Loved it. The second type was, my gosh, you've got to calm down on TV. So I'm going to give you the scoop on why I was so enthusiastic, let's just say, last night. Even a friend of mine emailed me and said, it was a great point, but you were talking so fast, I kind of missed out on some of it. I want to get to that, and a horrifying story that shows you again why our American exceptionalism, America is exceptional. All cultures are not the same, okay? Stop the insanity. All right, big show for you today. Hey, if you were a fan of the show in the last few years, you know all about my next sponsor. Of course, I'm talking about a great company, helps me sleep at night, Beam, B-E-A-M, and their amazing American-made Dream Powder. I'm glad to be back on the air with all of you. And listen, if I'm back on the air, it means Beam Dream is back with me. You know, I used to toss and turn at night. I talked about it all the time. Not the best sleeper. But now with Dream, I sleep through the night, wake up ready, clear-headed, and energized. This is probably why I was so energized last night, too. Dream is made with a powerful blend of all natural ingredients at work. Reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin. They all have their role. Best part is it tastes amazing. My longtime favorite is the brownie batter. It is delicious. Now that I'm back with Beam, I'm glad to be able to offer you all a special discount for the listeners. Go to shopbeam.com/Bongino. Use code Bongino to get my exclusive offer of up to 40% off Beam's Dream Powder. Use my discount code Bongino. You can get their best-selling Dream Powder for 40% off. Now is the season to show up strong. Get a good night's sleep. It's the ultimate life hack. Do it with something made by Americans for Americans. Do it with Dream. Again, shop, B-E-A-M, shopbeam.com/Bongino. All right, fellas, let's go. By the way, you know I like life hacks. If you're seeing a little blue tint on my tongue, Jasmine was like, did you eat a Smurf? No, I don't eat Smurfs. They're not real. It's just a cartoon. It's the methylene blue. So I'm okay. You don't need a doctor's diagnosis. I just usually take it a little earlier, but I took it a little later today. Justin was like, how did we miss that before? I'm like, I don't know. You guys better pay more attention in the future. I don't know. So, ladies and gentlemen, no, we are not the same, okay? We, the United States of America, USA, we are not the same as everybody else, okay? We have devised this very unique system, and when you look at the scope of humankind and sentient beings, Homo sapiens sapiens, right? We are the most successful model of human freedom ever invented since we could say, I think, therefore I am. There is no comparison. There is another side of the political aisle, the left, that wants you to believe that there's nothing particularly special about this place, that we should lower our standards and lower our values, and that other people are just victims around the world, and that all cultures are the same. It's this cultural relativism nonsense. No, we are not the same. I am not going to let them turn us into them. We're not doing it. All people are children of God. It's not a reflection on human dignity. I'm just telling you, if you take a person from Afghanistan or Pakistan living in third world subsistence poverty and you put them in the United States from birth, I can almost promise you that very same person is going to succeed. It's not the person, it's the system. And our system is the freaking best. Don't tell your kids or teach your kids otherwise. There is a reason people want to come here. We don't have an emigration problem. We have an immigration problem. People want to come in here and they want to bypass the rules because they're so eager to get in here. So I go on Laura's show last night. She's great. She basically just hands me this football to run with, which I love. And the reason I was so enthusiastic last night on the air is since I've come back from the FBI in that year there, I've been doing a lot of Fox and I've been doing a lot of appearances on law enforcement issues and terror cases and things like that. I mean, understandably, I was running the FBI with cash. It's probably a good input to get, and the guy who was doing it. However, I got to tell you, it's not that I don't like talking about that stuff. My heart is in being an activist, folks. My heart is in being an activist. Microphone is a powerful thing. The most elusive yet powerful superpower in the world is the power to command attention. Make no mistake. It's not a position. It's that. I miss being an activist. So this is the first appearance I've done, I think back on Fox in 3 months, where it was about an issue basically outside of law enforcement. It's the ideological fight. So I got some feedback and they were like, man, you were so, enthusiastic. I missed what you said. You got to tone it down. We're talking about law enforcement stuff. You take it down a notch. When I get into this stuff, it is my passion. It's my entire life is fighting for human freedom and dignity. That is my life. So here was the appearance, and I want to hit on a couple of things here. Because I don't want you to buy the bullshit. I rarely show appearances from the night before, but because some people might have missed the point I was making, I want to make it again here because it's critical. Check this out. It's ironic that they do this autopsy and they're wondering why they have a problem with white male voters and working class male voters of all races that they caused. It's almost as if now they're trying to attract them back with goodies. It's like they had this club, like the We Hate White Men and Working Class Men Club, but come inside for free drinks on Tuesday. It's like they think men are stupid. You've spent multiple decades now embedding this critical theory nonsense that knowledge is a construct of power and the white male patriarchy has the power, so don't trust them. And then when you need them to vote, you're like, hey, white male guys, by the way, forget we said all of that, and please come in and support us so we can take away more of your agency. Well, what the liberals figured out is if they blame this cloud, this undefinable cloud of the white male patriarchy, that they could create a victim and a perpetrator, and it would get people angry enough to forfeit away their money, their kids, and their health care. And it didn't work. It didn't work because a lot of these working class men, who, by the way, are Hispanic and black and white as well, were like, wait, I got screwed by your big government stuff too. It is so important. I'm really sorry I was talking so fast and so excited. I was in a studio van. You're in a little cramped space. That's just a television monitor behind you. I wasn't actually in downtown, whatever that is, that screen behind West Palm or whatever it may be. It's just the screen behind you. You're in a tight little van. And I was so excited about this hit because I'm just dying to get back on the air and talk about anything other than this stuff, because then it just seems so self-serving every time you're on the air talking about FBI stuff. Hey, look at me. I love talking about this stuff because then it's not about you. It's about the bigger fight. And that's what I really care about. I wanted to make 2 points, and maybe now I can get them across, and now that I have a little bit more time. And I thank Laura Ingraham for giving me the opportunity last night. This is all from the Democrat autopsy that got released yesterday. So the backstory is after they got their asses kicked in the Kamala Harris, Donald Trump presidential election, they commissioned an autopsy, a report on what went wrong. The report was so stupid, poorly done, and basically embarrassing for the Democrats. Barely even mentions Joe Biden's clear onset of some form of dementia. Doesn't even mention that they just tried to hide it. My guess is the DNC bigwigs knew this report was going to leak anyway, so they figured, let's just rip the Band-Aid off before Memorial Day, Right, Justin? Friday before Memorial Day is not a big news day. Our audience is probably going to be down a little bit today, which is fair enough. Go enjoy your kids. You don't need to be here with me. I love it, but I just like doing the show. But I understand. Justin's like, we're supposed to be attracting people to that. No, I know, but your family is more important. This is a big weekend. However, the Democrats decided they were going to release it before Memorial Day, hoping it dies. They released the autopsy, and they addressed none of the actual problems the Democrat Party had. The Democrat Party lost the election and continues to get smoked. Put up that Chris Cillizza chart, by the way. You guys terrible at predictions, but he says this is a brutal chart from the DNC autopsy. Look at the senators from 2009 to 2025. Plus 13 Republican. Congress, plus 41 Republican. Governors, plus 5 Republican. State legislators, plus 832 Republican. State trifectas, plus 13 Republican. Folks, this is a disaster for the Democrats. The reason they lost is they keep telling white men and working class voters, you guys suck. You're the problem. But by the way, come vote for us. That's what I meant by the analogy of the club. It's like trying to get people into your bar or club. You title the bar, White Men Suck. And then you're like, white men, buy one, get BOGO on Thursday. Get a free shot at tequila. Why would they want to go in that club? How? Guys, is this hard to understand? I invest a lot in companies, and sometimes I get these companies on the phone. I ask them a very simple question first. What do you do different than other people that adds value? The Democrats, are you ever going to ask yourself this? What do we do differently than the other party that adds value? And the answer is telling white men that they suck is not value added to them. That is, you're right, Jess. That's their only answer. Their only answer is we're not Donald Trump, but that's not a marketing pitch. A marketing pitch isn't telling people what you aren't. It's telling people what you are. You want to tell people what they aren't to create a contrast, but you also want to create the contrast by telling people what you offer as a value-added activity. When business school, they have this thing. You can look it up. It's kind of a joke, but it's true. I've mentioned it 1,000 times. It's called a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. What is your company's big, hairy, audacious goal? What do you do? What do the Democrats offer other than white men suck and men's penises in the women's room? What do they offer? The other point I was trying to get across is that the modern Democrat Party is about control. It is not about helping you. Please, if you're a Democrat listening, please listen to me. I can't tell you how many times I'm at a concert or something, and a former Democrat comes up to me and is like, man, I heard your show or a clip of your show. We use some clipping and things, which is fine. You want to watch it on clip? I don't really care. I'm an activist first, right? I just want the point out there. They go, man, you opened my eyes. Thank you. God bless you. That means more to me than anything. What are they offering you? Everything with the Democrats is taking from you. Give me more of your money. Give me control over your kids' education. Give me control over your health care. Give me control over the price of rent. If you're a landlord, you charge your renters. Give me control over your business through regulation. What are they offering you? Listen to me. Democrats, this message is for you. Republicans, you can tune out, although I hope you don't. What are they offering to give you? Anyone? They're only offering to take. And the way they hide the take and the steal and the grift and the theft of taking away your education liberty, your money, your business, regulating you to death and taking your freedom away because you got to answer to government. The way they disguise the whole thing and basically put don't pay attention to the wizard and get you to feel like you're being gifted something is by blaming someone for hurting you. So you feel bad. You feel like you should have gotten a job someone else did. Clearly, the patriarchy did it. We're going to come and save you. And it's like an enemy, my enemy is my friend. I'm sorry if this is getting deep, but this is a show that's long overdue. They are your enemy, the Democrats. But if they can get you to believe there's a bigger enemy out there, they want you to believe that the enemy of the enemy is your friend and that's them. They're going to stop the white male patriarchy. They did it. The white male patriarchy. But here's the kick in the balls. I referenced an article last night on Laura Ingram's show. Ladies and gentlemen, this article has stuck with me for 11 years now. This is one of the first articles I think I ever mentioned on the first month or so I was involved in my podcast. You can look it up. It's still there. It's at the Wall Street Journal, WSJ.com. It's by William McGurn. He still writes there. And it's called Baltimore is Not About Race. I have the article here. I want to show you this. I want to show you why this is a big freaking scam. This Democrat autopsy avoided all of the real problems of the Democrat Party. We hate white men, and we tried this bullshit scam, blaming every problem on them. We told people we were going to protect them against the white men, and then the white men and working class revolted against us, and they're like shocked. Here's the article. It's called Baltimore's Not About Race. What's the real problem in your life? Big government. It has nothing to do with race. This is genius. McGurn compares rural Martin County, Kentucky, which is largely white, and urban Baltimore, which is largely black. Martin County, Kentucky, back at the time, supported Romney. Baltimore supported Obama. He notes Martin County is 92% white. This is Kentucky, not Justin's like, we live in Martin. No, not Florida, Kentucky. 92% white. Baltimore's 2/3 black. Each has seen important sources of good-paying jobs dry up. Martin County in coal mining, Baltimore in manufacturing. They note in the last presidential election, Martin County, largely white, voted for Romney 6-1. Baltimore voted 9-1 for Obama. But they have the same problems. So what's the common denominator? Is it the patriarchy? Because it seems like the white men in Martin County are getting effed over too. He goes on in the piece, bookmark this, and show it to your liberal friends who are probably too stupid to process this. He notes the Great Society's legacy has been depressingly similar. In a remarkable dispatch 2 years ago, this person noted that the war on poverty sent $2 billion to Martin County alone through programs including welfare, food stamps, jobless benefits, disability compensation, school subsidies, affordable housing, worker training, economic development incentives, Head Start, expanded Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. And they have the exact same poverty, public education, healthcare, and lack of jobs crisis as Baltimore, which had the big, heavy hand of government inject themselves into that community too. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let the liberals bullshit and lie to you. At least make them be honest. If you want a welfare state, and the government taking away all of your so-called problems and solving the problem of the white male patriarchy, they are only going to cause a new set of problems in your community by engendering a sense of apathy from people who feel like they don't have to work because Big Daddy government's going to fix everything while they F everything up. Europe has already tried this. Joseph Sternberg wrote a piece 2-3 weeks ago at the Wall Street Journal we covered on the show about how Europe is poor and they don't want to admit it. Europe is poor. Sternberg wrote the piece. We covered it. He showed how when you ask Europeans, leave this up, the title of the piece is, Europe can be poor if it wants, but does it? The premise of Sternberg's piece is very simple. When you ask Europeans, Western Europeans, and you say to them, hey man, compare yourselves to a state in the United States. How wealthy are you compared to, how wealthy is, say, the UK compared to states in the United States? They rate themselves at the top. They're like, yeah, we're probably after like New York, California, and Texas. You are not. You're down at the bottom. The poorest United States, the poorest states in the United States, you are at or below them. They were stunned to hear this. Our poorest states are richer than you. The Europeans, they couldn't believe it. Sternberg writes his piece. It's an eruption. Put that headline back up again. So now he writes a comeback piece saying, hey, listen, I know this piece pissed a lot of you off that Europe's poor, but it's not my fault. It's your fault. The numbers don't lie. Again, the piece is called Europe Can Be Poor If It Wants, but doesn't. And what he's saying here is Europeans and European leaders, the ECB and others and all of them, the IMF and all these people, these international NGOs and global operations, just tell Europeans the truth. You want big government, you're going to be poor. You want limited government, rugged individualism, and free markets, you'll be rich. They don't want to tell them that. They're telling people the same thing they told people in Martin County, Kentucky, and Baltimore. We're going to tax the shit out of you. We're going to bring big government in. It's going to solve all of your problems. You're going to have a nanny state, and you're going to be rich too. You're not. You can be prosperous or you can have big government. You cannot have both. And the Democrat autopsy addressed none of that. They know you can't have both, but they distract you from the obvious. You would think smart people in the Democrat Party would be saying, wait, the bigger our government gets, the shittier the outcome. We're spending $41,000 per student to educate someone in New York, and we have some of the worst results in the entire organized, industrially competent world. Where are the scientists going? Hey, there seems to be a correlation there. The answer is they're not, because they're all distracted with the white man did it. The white male patriarchy did it. And suckers fall for it, because it's like I said last night in Ingram. That movie, A Few Good Men, the best part of the movie is Tom Cruise telling people that the courts aren't about innocence or guilt. They're about who to blame. If it's not your guy and you're defending him, you better find someone else. It's about who to blame. The Democrats figured out we can't have people blaming our big government policies. So what are we going to do? We're going to distract people by blaming the white male, and they never expected the white male to revolt against them. And that is entirely overlooked in the Democrat autopsy. I got more of this coming up. I got just absolutely killer hits about this exact topic. And I'm going to show you something interesting about the autopsy too. How even in the Democrat autopsy of why Kamala lost, they can't acknowledge the obvious, that Kamala Harris was uniquely awful as a candidate after another uniquely awful candidate, Joe Biden. And that word unique's doing a lot of work there. All right, let me take a quick break, and I'm going to show you how they tried to hide the autopsy, and they waited to Memorial Day weekend. Why? Because they didn't want it. They didn't want it out there. That's why. They wanted to hide the damn thing. All right, today's show also brought to you by our friends at SuperSure. Listen, I'm in business with a lot of folks. You ever wonder how many brokers it takes to insure your business? Here's the answer. If you're not using SuperSure, a lot, and it's really annoying. If you're like a lot of business owners, the answer is just too many. Multiple policies, multiple applications, no clear view of how it all fits together. When the questions come up, it's not easy to get the clarity you need. SuperSure changes all of that. One broker for all your business insurance needs, backed by a team that works with you year-round, not just at renewal time. If you've ever stared at a policy and you're wondering, what does this actually cover, this policy? SuperSure has a fine print facts tool that translates the legal jargon into plain English so you know what's covered and what's not. It's a great tool. Check it out. Right now, you can go to supersure.com/Bongino and get a full report on your current policies with no obligation. Find out if you're overinsured, underinsured, or somewhere in between. Go to supersure.com/Bongino. It's one super agency, one powerful platform. It works. Check them out. All your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com/Bongino. That's supersure.com/Bongino. Consult with a licensed insurance producer to discuss coverage options for your specific business needs. Paid for by SuperSure Insurance, LLC, a licensed insurance agency. Thank you, SuperSure. And another one of my favorite products that I was using, actually one of mine, you might have saw it on the desk, long before they were a sponsor, is Dose. Hey, cholesterol's tough. And for many of us, it's genetic. Paul and I discovered Dose. They have a cholesterol product too, which I was happy to find out about. My cholesterol was a little elevated recently. I took it, dropped it dramatically. Dose has a clinically backed cholesterol support supplement that helps target triglycerides, LDL, HDL, and total cholesterol. Honestly, Dose makes it really easy to make it part of your daily wellness. It tastes delicious. It's a daily 2-ounce shot that tastes just like mango. It's really good. No pills, no powder. Dose uses ingredients like turmeric, coenzyme Q10, AMLA, and naturally occurring ingredients. It gets delivered right to your door. Dose is easy to start, easy to make part of your self-care routine. Dose for cholesterol is a way to get help in taking control of your own health and something that can help delay more intense conventional therapies. It gets delivered right to your door, making getting the support you need for your health easy to stick to. Right now, new customers can save 35% on your first month of subscriptions by going to dosedaily.co/Bongino or entering Bongino at checkout. Product worked for me and personally vouched for it. That's dosedaily.co/Bongino, dosedaily.co/Bongino for 35% off your first month subscription. These statements and products are not being evaluated by the FDA. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. So here was Fox coverage yesterday. They released the autopsy report. They had tried to hide and bury this thing. They do it on Memorial Day weekend because none of it addresses the core of the Democrat problem. The core of the Democrat problem is they hate you. If you work for a living and you believe that there are men and women, they can't stand you, and they expected you to show up despite the fact that they hate you. Check this out.
CNN says it's gotten its hands on this thing, and what they're purporting that it is. It talks about a lot of different things in here. They say Democrats have lost ground at every level, from inconsistent messaging and improper planning. They talk about funding and not equipping their state parties. And, you know, the document I'm looking at goes on a deep dive through a number of state races, down to the attorney general level, and looking at where things matched and didn't match with messaging and voting. And they said, you know, in some of these cases that you couldn't just have a message that we're anti-Trump. It's we hate President Trump, or he's not good for us. He's not good for the country. You have to have your own independent messaging. So it's nearly 200 pages. We're starting to dig through it, and would like to independently verify it ourselves as well.
There's going to be a lot of reaction. David Axelrod's already out there. He called this a needless waste of time.
The needless waste of time. They tried to bury this thing because it's bullshit. We just didn't spend enough money messaging. No, you got messaging out there. They were like, hey, let's put a penis in the women's room and tell white men they suck. That was your messaging. It failed. That's why you got your ass kicked in every swing state. That's why. Now, I want to stay on this, but one of the most hilarious, comical portions of this autopsy, Will Cain covered this yesterday on his show at 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox. Will's a good friend, good man. Will found this hilarious too. In the autopsy, they complained that Kamala Harris being appointed the border czar. Remember when Joe Biden said, Kamala, you're in charge of the open border? And she totally flubbed it. She did nothing. She didn't even go to the border. She spent her entire time leaking to the media how she was pissed off being the border czar. Instead of solving a problem, look at the difference between her and Vice President Vance. J.D. Vance, the vice president, is given a portfolio over the Minnesota fraud and national fraud scandal. We're up to something like 200 plus arrests, prosecutions, 41 years in prison for a ringleader. It's only been a couple of months. Kamala Harris in charge of the border for basically 4 years. She does jack squat. So listen to Will Cain cover how they read him. They're pissed off that we called Kamala the border czar, but she wasn't really the border czar. Are you sure about that? Check this out.
Now, the report also zeroes in on her time as border czar and how the Biden White House threw her into the flames without an extinguisher. Quote, President Biden assigned the vice president a brief including immigration, which was poorly framed by Republicans as border czar. It was not the official title, but it was the one that the media propagated and the White House failed to contradict or correct. But title or not, Harris didn't do anything about the border and only visited the thing twice while she was VP. The report did acknowledge, though, she may have saved Democrats from an even bigger down-ballot wipeout had Biden remained on the ballot. But when it came time for Harris to actually sell her accomplishments to voters, her failed strategy boiled down to one message: Trump is bad.
Ral Gatt in the chat says she was a border welcome mat. She did nothing about the border, but nobody in the autopsy acknowledges that at all, that maybe the problem was she failed to produce an actual result, unlike Vice President Vance, who was just named the fraud czar a month ago and already has a bunch of prosecutions and collars under his belt. She didn't do anything, man. And Republicans framed it as the border czar, her as the border. We did that. Are you sure? Ladies and gentlemen, receipts incoming. Hat tip the great Maze Moore. We played this years ago when it happened. We didn't call her the border czar. Left-wing media people called her. Listen for yourself. Don't listen to me. Check this out.
Vice President and border czar Kamala Harris facing some backlash.
And this will be her first visit to the U.S.-Mexico border region since she was appointed as the border czar by President Biden.
President Biden tapped Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, to be the border czar.
They were very critical of Kamala Harris, especially in her role as border czar.
Kamala Harris, who was appointed as the border czar.
There has been so much criticism against Kamala Harris. You know, she was the border czar.
Folks, that's CNN and MSNBC if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. That's not the Dan Bongino show. They called her the border czar. because she was in charge of the border when border policies totally collapsed. Folks, it's all a distraction. The Democrats do not want to put down on paper that their love affair with the hatred of white men, their hatred of Jews, all of it, they do not want to admit in a paper document that that is why they got smoked. When you tell a group of people collectively that they are the cause of everyone else's problems, it should not surprise you when those groups of people, white men, working class voters, and others, give you the double-barreled middle finger and say, I don't want to be told I'm the cause of your problems. Your government's causing me problems, just like McGurn showed in the Baltimore Is Not About Race article I just showed you. White communities in poverty, too, have the exact same problem. Big government policies. Folks, if the Democrats were doing so great, by the way, and they've cleaned their act up, look at this, what is it, Open Source Zone? There's a poll in there, a Quinnipiac poll, no big, huge Republican outlet there. Democrat Party approval rating amongst men. Disapprove, 78%. Disapprove. So there's good news and bad news. The bad news is I don't want a party as popular as the Democrats. They have a lot of voters, they do. In the United States, hating any group of people, men, Jews, Christians, evangelicals, anyone. The good news is if you're going to do it, you're still going to get your political ass kicked. That's it. Because Americans aren't like that. Folks, listen, I want to be melodramatic, but I don't get out a ton, I'll be honest with you, but I get out enough. I go out there. I can't express to you enough. Listen to me, please. Stop what you're doing for a sec. Super important. I'm going to try to take a breather too. This is really critical. Social media in general, not just X. Portions of it are real life. I don't like when people say Twitter isn't real life. No, there are real people on Twitter. However, what you see on social media, I will say more precisely, is not representative of the greatness of this country. When I traveled around in the FBI, when I travel around personally, I meet the most amazing people who say the nicest, kindest things. You may be saying to yourself, oh my gosh, they're just people. No, I'm talking about people who have no idea who I am. I'll go in like a local hardware store somewhere, and people are just incredible. Do you have that clip, the door, Guy? You got that clip, the door thing we were talking about before? I want to play this here. I know it's a little out of order, but this is important. I bring this up because the left and the doomers and grifters who tried to infiltrate our party with their own ideological hatred that we just gave them the boot, they really believe X and social media are real life. Many of them are still stunned by what happened in the Tuesday and the Massey election. They're stunned. They can't believe it. They were convinced. There were people putting $100,000 bets down that, the country hates the Jews. They hate the what? This is where, all this other stuff. It's moving in a different direction. They are stunned. Here's this lady. I don't even know who she is, but I saw this rolling around on X yesterday. She's stunned that Twitter ratios aren't the real world. Listen to the end of this. This is critical. Most of the audience out there listening doesn't even know what a Twitter ratio is. Most of the audience, forget it, isn't even on Twitter. But she's convinced ratioing people on X is the real world. Check this out.
What they see is what's curated to them, and that also feels like a part of the plan.
True. We often ask, I'm like, has everyone in the world woken up to the Israel problem? And my husband often says, we're probably just in our own echo chamber, right? Our algorithm on social media. And so I think about that a lot. Am I just in an echo chamber? Or has America First sentiment truly gotten to the point where it's boiling over so much that everyone is experiencing this mass awakening? And the only thing that gives me cause to believe that I'm not living in an echo chamber is when you see establishment voices like your Mark Levins, Randy Fines, Laura Loomer's, Trump, Vance, all these people who are establishment, when they're getting ratioed right? Like they have their own echo chamber. So how come they're getting ratioed on posts, sometimes by double, triple, quadruple, by people who do have the America First sentiment?
Yes.
That's what kind of gives me a little bit of hope that maybe we're not in an echo chamber. Maybe people are actually experiencing a mass awakening of sorts.
Wait. That's, by the way, a woman by the name of Amy Dangerfield. Guys, you know, at the end of the year, we do the 10 best clips of the year. Can we add the 10 dumbest? I nominate this one first. It's my show. So, Andy, start the list. Yeah, quadruple's not a thing. I think it's thank you, Gayford. I think quadruple. Number one, did you guys even catch it? She references the Republican establishment. She says, Trump and Vance. That's a good one. Amy, that's a good one. Trump and Vance are the establishment. That's a good one. Yes, the establishment loves Donald Trump. Correct. Bill Cassidy and Tom Taylor, they love him. They adore him. You are correct. And it said, no, I'm not in an echo chamber. We ratio people on Twitter. Folks, if you're on X as often as I am, I'm not telling you there are not real people who get pissed off when their candidate loses. I'm telling you it is in no way even close to representative of the real world. Do you know how easy it is to bot X, use artificially AstroTurf inflated activity to ratio people? I guarantee you a ton of people in the chat are like, what the hell does that even mean? Exactly. This is all they have. And they're stunned when actual voters show up and go, I don't want that guy. Wait, I thought Israel was the top issue. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, it's probably not even a top 10 issue for other people. It's a top 1 issue for you. That's all you talk about. Isn't it incredible, guys, how they're always like, I can't believe people are making Israel for... This show is like 5% or less about foreign affairs. Your show is 100% about Israel. You're obsessed with this small sliver of land in the Middle East when the guy working down the block stocking shelves in Walgreens doesn't give a shit. And then you're stunned when you lose? But we ratioed people. Then you get the quadruple is a thing. We had 4. Rondoc. We should start doing comment of the week. Quadruple is a thing. We had 4 years of that with Biden. Freaking genius. Rondoc in the chat. Gee, that is genius level comic activity. Unlike the other comics that, we'll end you, bro. This is all they talk about. And they wonder why, again, like a coal miner in West Virginia is not going to vote for them anymore. This is leftist identity politics. Pick a label. White men, black men, union workers, trans, cisgender, two-spirit people, whatever they make up. All they do is pick a label, they put it on you, and they go, Republicans hate you, vote for us, enemy, my enemy is my friend. They do it all the time. Folks, again, I try not to fall in love with politicians. However, when politicians produce results, like really good exchanges that expose Democrats for what they are, it matters to me. And right now up on the Hill, there's no one doing it better than Brandon Gill, Congressman from Texas. Brandon Gill is up there on the Hill yesterday. And this is what it looks like when you expose Democrats who want you to believe that everybody's racist but them. And then they want you to come and vote for them even though they called you a racist. He's up with this liberal lady. And apparently their group has one of these diagrams of racism. And it's like, if you deny racism, you're like an even bigger racist. By the way, that's the essence of a conspiracy theory. Whatever you say to rebut the conspiracy theory is evidence you're part of the conspiracy. It's the same thing with the left. It's the same effing tactic. Oh, you say you're not a racist? The more you deny it means you're hiding it, that you're the biggest racist of all. How do you ever win an argument like that? The answer is you can't, because it's not an argument. Watch this exchange, and you'll see how the left, once confronted with their own ideas, even they run from it. That's how unpopular, even amongst themselves, they are. Check this out.
No question. Are you a racist?
I'm not a racist.
You're not a racist. Particularly interesting because according to one of your affiliate charities, under your nonprofit umbrella, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits
Are you
do.
a covert white supremacist?
Can I talk about the work that nonprofits do in
No,
your
I'm
district?
asking you if you're a
'Cause I think that's
covert white supremacist, which according to one of your own organizations, again, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Would you like to answer the question?
I don't know what the question is.
So you refuse to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I don't have a definition in front of me. I haven't looked at the definition. I'm not going to answer a question about my personal
That
views.
is-
I'm here to talk about the work
You're not-
of nonprofit organizations.
I want to give you one more chance to do this. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Why are we so off track from the topic?
I'm asking you a very straightforward question.
I've heard your question. Thank you, sir.
And you're not going to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I would like to answer questions about the work
This
of
is
nonprofit
this is
organizations.
painful.
Thank you.
That is really, really astounding. I can answer very directly that I am not a covert white supremacist, and I imagine all of my colleagues can as well.
Who can't answer that question? Let's do a simple test. Jasmine, are you in fact a white supremacist? That's a no. Andy, 2 thumbs down. Guy's like, hell no, not me. Justin, no, shaking his head. No, I'm not. No, I'm Dan Bongino. No, I am. That's Guy's video of the day. Brandon Gill's racking him up, by the way. No, I'm not a white supremacist. It's not hard. It's not hard. But the lady said, her group says, if you deny that you're a racist, you are in fact a white supremacist. So Brandon Gill asked a simple question. Are you a racist? She said, no. So by her own freaking definition, she's a white supremacist, correct? Are we all stupid? Deny it and you're a white supremacist. I deny it. So then you must be a white supremacist. None of this is in the autopsy, folks. None of this is in the freaking autopsy. I'm not trying, this isn't build your vocabulary day. This isn't like hooked on phonics worked for me. However, there's a word out there you should know, bête noire, okay? I'm pretty sure it means black beast. And what it's meant to mean, bête noire, is like this phantom creature everybody should be scared of, the bête noire. I put this up there, and there's your definition, because it's the perfect word to describe the left's entire ideology. There's some beast out there that's doing evil things to you, and we are going to protect you from that beast. That beast is the Republican Party, the MAGA movement, the white males, patriarchy, conservatives, libertarians, whatever they mean. It doesn't matter. They always need a victim and a perpetrator because they need someone to blame for their problems. So they can't pin it down often to one single person. So they make it something that's unassailable, like the white male patriarchy, so that you'll never pay attention to facts. Don't ever forget that. And they constantly have to redefine what the bête noire is. Because when you call them out on specific things, they lose their minds. You'll say to them, for instance, so white men are the problem, and if they deny they're the problem, they're racist. What about this white? Put up that Time cover. What about this white male leftist? Because this is your Democrat soon-to-be nominee in the state of Maine. This is Time magazine, put on the cover, Graham Plattner, who is a very white man. He's a Democrat running for the U.S. Senate with a ton of support. He has a Nazi tattoo on his chest. And if you look at his photo on Time's cover, he is pretty white. Does that guy look white to you? Andy's like, yeah, a little bit. Looks pretty white. Folks, I don't even play with it. It's got a pretty white name too, Graham Plattner. I thought the white male was the problem. I thought he was the problem. I thought the white male and the Nazi conservatives was the problem. You now have a white guy with a Nazi tattoo. You see how they just have to, the bête noire is whatever they say it is? I thought it was a white male. No, not in this case. He's one of the good guys because he denies being a racist and a Nazi. You just said denying it's evidence of a white supremacist. Not his denial. That specific white male who denies it is That denial counts, just not your denial. Your denial's evidence. His denial's a denial. This happens every time. How do you suckers keep falling for this on the left? You are being played for suckers, bro. You're being played, suckers. And you thought you could pull this shit in our movement with this primary. We're going to come in here and tell you to hate this group of people. Nobody played along. You got smoked. Because that's not our movement. I can't tell you this enough. Jeannie B, AMDG, Graham Cracker. Yeah, he's pretty white, man. That's... I can't. How are you falling for this? If you're a liberal, listen, how are you this stupid? You told us the white dude was your problem, that the Nazis are everywhere in the Republican Party, despite the fact that we just had a primary that rebuked all of this. You had a primary, you're going to have a primary, where you just picked a guy who's got an actual fucking Nazi tattoo. Damn it. I'm going to go to church today, too. You just picked a guy with a Nazi tattoo who's a white dude. What's that? By their own logic, he's a covert white supremacist. He denies it. I want you to watch this clip from Trigonometry, Konstantin Kissin's show, where he's talking to this former liberal who had her eyes open, who saw this as kind of interesting too. How everybody's a covert white supremacist, the denial of your white supremacy makes you even more racist. And she's probably thinking to herself, like, that doesn't sound like logic or reason. Like, how can you possibly escape this circle then? You can't, because they need the bête noire everywhere. This is what happens when you wake up. This is what it looks like, eyes open. Check this out.
Everyone who's white is a white supremacist, even if they don't know it, you're racist. So like, you should really question what you believe, because more often than not, you're racist. You have cisgender privilege.
And did you think this when this was happening? Were you like, actually, I am, I must be a white supremacist?
I literally was just like, I guess this is what is true. Like, I was just like, I'm going to listen to BIPOC, which is like POCs, people of color. I'm going to listen to other people's perspectives, and I'm going to sit down and shut up, essentially, to listen to what other people have to say. We threw out the idea of the MLK would say you should be judged by the content of your character, not the color of your skin. That was out the window. And it was like, everyone who's white and cisgender and privileged doesn't have a perspective here. So anyway, that's the culture of the newsroom. Not that anyone's like a gun to my head being like, you must believe this, but it was just the water that I was swimming in.
S-Holzer21, can someone make an F-bomb sticker? We can toss it in the chat when he drops it. I know, I'm sorry. We do need the swear jar. I know. Maybe what we'll do is, I got an idea. Like, can we do like a swear jar, and I'll give $100 to a charity every time. That way, at least something good can come out of this abomination of foul language, because it is bad. Kids, don't do it. And you're right, my critics, it does diminish your argument. I've no excuses, just an explanation. There's S-Holzer21 in the chat there. It does diminish your argument. Oh man. I can't, sometimes it just happens. I wish it didn't. Folks, I want to show you, I said, I titled today's show too, a horrifying incident, because I want to show you something coming up. I know it's Friday. I'm gonna leave you some good news. Don't worry. But you do need to see this, because this leftist argument that this country's irredeemable, other cultures are just as valuable, big government's the solution, totalitarianism is the solution. Other cultures, some of them and their governing systems, are not only garbage, they're freaking dangerous. I saw this, that you may have seen this going around on X's video. So get ready for what I'm going to show you next. I'm just telling you, like, it's a little rough, but we got to talk about it. Folks, spring always flips a switch for me. You want things lighter, cleaner. You know how it is. Get the house cleaned up and dialed in. Includes also how I sleep. Sleep is the ultimate life hack. I told you that in the opening of today's show. Before swapping furniture or tackling a full reset, fixing your mattress changes everything. It's time. Get yourself a comfortable mattress. Watch your sleep change. If you're dealing with sore mornings, lower back pain, or nights that never fully settle, Helix, Helix, is a total game changer. Paul and I have been using the Midnight Lux mattress. I think we're on our third one now. And the difference was immediate. I used to wake up tight, uncomfortable. My shoulders specifically didn't feel great. My body never really fully shut off. And that's dangerous for you. Now I wake up actually rested. My sleep monitors show the evidence. I got the receipts to back it up. What makes Helix stand out is that it's built around how you sleep. How you sleep. With over 20 mattress models, there's no guessing. You're matched to the right mattress for you, plain and simple. They make the process easy with free shipping, a 120-night sleep trial, that's how confident they are in the product, and a limited lifetime warranty and zero pressure. They don't need it. It's just a good product. Go to helixsleep.com/Dan for 27% off site-wide. Exclusive for my listeners. It's big savings. That's helixsleep.com/Dan for 27% off site-wide. Make sure to enter my show name after checkout so they know we sent you. helixsleep.com/Dan. Get yourself a new mattress. And our last sponsor today, this is like an interactive sponsor because these guys love this Zippix so much. They're like, can we come in and show like the used pack? I'm like, no one wants to see your used pack of Zippix. But then I said, if you want to show us the used pack, show us the used pack. Fine. You want to show the used pack? All right, Justin, you got to come into the shot. Like, it's just your hand. They're also going to think it's some weird. Yeah, there you go. There's Justin with his beat up used pack. Everybody here loves Zippix, okay? Today's brought to you by Zippix nicotine-infused toothpicks, a clean, satisfying way to help manage nicotine cravings without smoke, without vapor, and without inhaling anything into your lungs. Zippix is changing the game around nicotine with toothpicks made from simple ingredients and quality plant-derived nicotine. Zippix can be used almost anywhere, even in places where smoking or vaping is banned. They come in 6 great flavors. These guys, again, love them. They send a nice gift pack over with options of 2 and 3 milligrams of nicotine so you can choose what works for you. Zippix helps satisfy the oral fixation and hand-mouth habit many smokers and vapors recognize. Many people find them better tasting and less abrasive than pouches. They're proudly made right here in the USA. Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks. These are my favorites. Carry them with me everywhere. Hundreds of thousands of customers have already added Zippix to their routine. Give your lungs a break. Try Zippix nicotine toothpicks today. Get 10% off your first order by using code Bongino at checkout only at zippixtoothpicks.com. That's ZIPPIX, zippixtoothpicks.com. Must be 21 or older to order. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Thank you, Zippix. There you go, Justin. I know you wanted that beat up packet in there. They said, Zippix, if you want to send some more for the guys, I'm sure they'll really appreciate it. All right, back to the show. I'm going to skip ahead, guys. What? Is that like a real number? We should get that number. And like you can donate to charity or something, right? Okay, so this clip kind of sums up what I'm talking about. How leftists want you to believe that, this country isn't different. We should be more like these countries around the world with these broken governing systems and totalitarian regimes. They can't have you. Let me explain this better. They can't have you think American exceptionalism is real, because then what's the follow-up question, right? Thomas Sowell used to say, always ask liberals, and then what? Okay, if we have to acknowledge the fact that America is the wealthiest, most prosperous, most powerful military, and greatest place to be alive. Everyone wants to come here. And then what? Well, how did it get that way? The answer is an unparalleled sense of both freedom and liberty, protected, not granted by our Constitution. And they don't want to do that because leftists need control. Control is the opposite of freedom and liberty. So if they need control, they have to tell you freedom and liberty sucks, that we're no different than everyone else, and we should respect all cultures. No, we shouldn't. Did you see this video about the Afghan who sells his children, his female daughters, into sex slavery? And I want you to listen to the tone of the, quote, journalism in here, where they sound like almost sympathetic. Folks, this is freaking demonic. This is evil. These people should get the death penalty for doing this. There is no scenario by which you sell. Do we even need to say this? Is this even like a public service announcement? Jasmine's like, I'm pretty sure we don't. Just in case there's still a couple of dipshits who don't understand this, selling your kids to sex slavery is the 0 day up. It's never, no, there's no scenario by which that's okay. But what if I need food? There is no scenario by which that's okay. None. None. I would rather be dead. No. This happened? Yes, this actually happened. This was zipping around that. Oh, we feel so bad. Oh, yeah, I feel bad. For the kids. Check this out.
Explain why he's making unbearable choices. I'm ready to sell my daughters. I'm poor and in debt. I come home with parched lips, distressed and confused. My children come to me saying, Baba, give us some bread. But what can I give? Where is the work so I can earn? It breaks my heart, but it's the only way to feed my other children, Abdul says.
No, man. No, we're not doing that. No. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not importing into our country people who have been raised in this type of culture, who think it's okay to sell your 7-year-old and 5-year-old daughters into sex slavery to a bunch of, they're not animals, that's a disgrace to animals, to demons. That is not a thing. That is never a thing. You can take your crocodile tears and shove them up your ass. We don't want you. You're not allowed in here. Now, I will say again, this is not a reflection on people. It's a reflection on a culture and a system they were raised in too. We don't want that here. You take that man from birth, put him in the United States, he's probably a neurosurgeon right now. It's not him. It's the culture. We don't want that here. I'm not interested in Afghani exceptionalism, air quotes, imported into the United States. You know where they tried this? Well, they tried it here under the Biden administration, and thankfully Donald Trump has gotten a hold of it because results matter. They're trying this in Western Europe right now. You have that Daily Mail piece? Did you hear about this story too? This is the horrifying incident I was talking about. In addition to that, we're not doing this here, and make zero apologies for it. The white male patriarchy didn't do this. Daily Mail. Jack Hardy. Teenage gang who lured schoolgirl, 15, to an underpass, laughed as they filmed themselves raping her. They managed to avoid jail. The judge praised them for their behavior during trial. What? We're not doing this here, folks. You want to know why Donald Trump beat Kamala Harris? Maybe stop telling voters in Appalachia and elsewhere who are struggling under the foot of big government that they're the problem, while you import a bunch of third world cultures clearly not up to snuff into the United States while telling Americans they suck. Now you know why people don't want to vote for you? Don't tell me what America first means. We know what America first means. We voted for it 3 times. You tried to hijack it and make it about a country the size of New Jersey in the Middle East while ignoring all the countries that surround it. Pakistani rape gangs, Afghanis selling their kids into sex slavery. You're just ignoring that? All these commentators out there, I don't know, I've never heard anything about it. Would you read the effing newspaper, bro? We're not doing this, man. We're not doing this here. That's why people voted for Donald Trump. Well, what's he doing about it? Gee, I don't know. Shut the border to 0 illegal migrants admitted into the country. What, 4 months in a row now? 0. From tens of millions flooding in under Biden. Here he was yesterday in the White House, where he's trying to fight against birthright citizenship too. Another just suicide pact. You're just allowed to come here, legally or illegally, have a child, and you get to claim our club is your club, the United States of America, our culture is your culture? No, that's not the way this works. And don't act like the argument's settled. The argument's not settled because the people don't agree it's settled. There's a question of political versus territorial jurisdiction. The left wants you to believe it's all about territory. You're born in our territory, you claim all the rights. The right's saying, and even some sane leftists are starting to say, no, you don't get to come here from like a foreign country, potentially an enemy of the United States, have a baby, even though you're under no political jurisdiction of the United States at all, you're a foreigner. Some of you are not even here legally. And you get to claim all of our rights? No. Here's Donald Trump in the Oval yesterday, because this case is out at the Supreme Court now, talking about birthright citizenship. You want to see why he won in the autopsy? It's because of stuff like this. Check this out.
Now we have another one coming up, birthright citizenship. It would be a disgrace. It would be a disgrace if the Supreme Court of the United States allows that to happen. Remember when I said 20 to 25% of the people coming into our country will come in through birthright citizenship. They'll become citizens through birthright citizenship, and it'll cost us numbers that are, I don't even think they're doable. And it's all up to a couple of people. And I hope they do what's right. Birthright citizenship is a disgrace. The fact that, look at the people that are bringing the suit. Study the people that are bringing the suit. These are not people that love our country, I can tell you that.
Folks, chest up, chest out, chin up. Chest out, chin up, shoulders back, head held high. You are a MAGA Republican. A MAGA Republican is a leader in civil rights and civil liberties for all. MAGA Republicans fought back against this ideological group-centric hatred we saw trying to insert themselves in our party on Tuesday, and fought back proudly. The Republican Party was the party of civil liberties. When you talk about culture, talk about it proudly and openly. Do not accept or even tolerate for a moment this leftist dribble, this leftist quadribble. Do not for a second tolerate this bullshit that addressing failures in other cultures to police values and morals and their people that somehow is bigoted and racist. Bullshit. Bullshit. The left is the party that has fully embraced all this Jew hatred, hatred of the white male working class. That's their thing. They're just embarrassed that the United States, through freedom and liberty, has built a system and a culture peerless around the world. And they want control of that back. Then you got Karen Bass out there running for mayor of Los Angeles. Not only is she apparently doesn't give a shit about illegal immigration, she entertains the idea of having illegals actually vote in local elections. Listen to her at the end where she can't even give an answer on this. Not only do you want to import into the country cultures totally not compliant with American values, you want them to vote here too? Listen to this.
Councilmember Hugo Soto Martinez, who has endorsed you, he wants to explore ways to let non-citizens vote in city elections. With Donald Trump in the White House, is this the right time for Los Angeles to go down this path?
Well, I think we need to explore it. Now, I've not seen exactly what he's calling for. I have a little familiarity of what happens in other cities. And for example, some cities will allow people to vote in like city council and school board elections because they pay local taxes, but they are not necessarily undocumented. They might be here completely legally, but have not finished the citizenship process. So we'll wait and see.
There's a way to find out, fellas, if you finish the citizenship process. You know what it is? The citizenship process? Damn, no, that's the answer. There's a way to figure it out. I went through this, Jasmine. You know that? Citizenship process? What, Dan? You were no, not me, but I went through it with Paula. You guys have any idea how I knew she was a citizen? We went down to the immigration office in Baltimore after she had done what was needed the right way, and she swore in and became a citizen. That's the way, Karen Bass. Folks, if you're not voting for Spencer Pratt in this LA election, I can't help you. I'm sorry. You're voting for citywide suicide. You're voting for citywide suicide. When's the good news, guy? I thought you said it's Friday. You're going to leave us with some good news. I am. I have my Democrat Zen thing coming up in a minute. Hat tip, producer Jim. You know we love him. We miss him every day. Some people ask me, you ever going to go back to radio? I don't know. Maybe someday. I wanted to come back and focus on this. You know, I was very proud of the work we did, but I wanted to make sure we took care of the podcast audience first. This was always my first love. We've had this show since 2015. I love doing it. We built this new studio. I only got to use it for 3 weeks and then left. So, that's the only reason. I may one day, who knows? But I'm happy to be back with Fox and everyone else too. So that's a good thing. But I saw this yesterday. Turning point, obviously we're still all grieving the loss of Charlie Kirk and a friend to all of us. I always say we all had a piece of Charlie, all of us. Charlie was an amazing friend to me. I love Charlie. I love him still, and I'll never forget what he did for the movement. But Turning Point is still going out on campuses, changing hearts and minds, and telling people what the real MAGA movement, what the real Republican movement is, what the real liberty-oriented Republican movement is. Chloe Cole, who is a detransitioner and goes out and warns about this transitioning, this gender fluidity crap that they're teaching. She was on a campus, and this woman came up. Did you guys see this on X yesterday? If you didn't, you're in for a treat. It's not very long. But a woman comes up and says, hey, I had interacted with Charlie at one of these before, but I want you to see what happens next. This is worth a minute of your time. Check this out.
My name's Ariel. You might have seen a video of me on Charlie Kirk's Instagram. I talked to him last year when he was on this campus. I was born to a mother who had severe mental illness. It led her to abuse me physically, sexually. I was then adopted by my grandparents when I was about 8. I went through all this abuse in my life, all these hardships. I'm now 19. I found a wonderful church back at home and here, but pretty much my whole message to anyone who might see this is the potential for suffering is not worth the ending of a life prematurely. Yes. If the world weren't so evil, I'd be talking to Charlie Kirk again, but I can't do that. And so when I heard that you were coming on campus and that you were part of the same company, I knew I just had to talk to you again.
It takes a great deal of courage to be able to talk about it and acknowledge it in the first place, and then to go out into the world and to reuse that testimony, to reuse those hardships to make the world a better place for other people. And I seriously commend you for that. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but easy isn't why we do it. We do it because we want to help the next generation, because we want to create a better world, a better culture for them than the one that we were raised up in. And I love how you're using your story to do that.
Folks, I played that because I just want to drill into all of our skulls, mine included sometimes, when you're ready to give up and you think, oh my gosh, this is all bad. This is a dystopian nightmare. Everything's falling apart. The Doomers won. They didn't win. We continue to rack up W's. I had a whole section. These guys, I didn't even get to it today. It was called like the results Lucky Trump section. I'll get to it on Tuesday. We are off on Monday for Memorial Day. I'm going to, want my team and people to spend time with their families. I want people spending time with me on Monday. Go out, enjoy your families. Remember what it's all about. Okay. However, talking to the other side still matters. Even if you can't crack through to the liberal listening, there's always a third party listening. Always. The minute we stop talking, and this is what Charlie's entire life was about, that's when it's really over. And it's never over. Was it Aeneas that said, your enemy isn't vanquished until he believes himself so? Well, I never at any point, even after the debacle in 2020 and that whole nasty election, I never gave up. You go back and listen to my shows. I told people after we lost in the midterms, get up, dust off, move on. It's just, we're not vanquished, and we're only vanquished when you believe it so. And then we came back, and look what happened in 2024. Okay, it is Friday, so producer Jim is always gracious enough to put together a nice, kind, meditative moment for us during the week so we can roll into this long Memorial Day weekend of peace and calm. And of course, using our fellow friends, the Democrats, who, as we know, guys, are known for peace and calm and non-emotional, just kind of level set, let's get back to the weekend and really adjust and deep breaths. So maybe go in one of those little salt caves with this and listen to this over and over. It'll help you relax. Here's our Democrat Zen moment of the week.
Your Democrat Zen moment of the day. A peaceful moment to center your mind.
Hey there to my Trump supporters. This is your local friendly DoorDasher, and I just want to let you know that if I see a MAGA sign out front of your house, I'm going to take the utmost care to make sure that when I deliver your order, I throw it out the fucking window, you piece of shit. Fuck.
This has been Democrat Zen.
Gonna double check DoorDash from now on. Look at that. I wonder if DoorDash does anything about that. There you go, folks. A little peace and calm for the long weekend. Hey, thank you so much for another great week. Can't thank you enough. The Triton rankings and all that stuff. You guys have kept us at the top and do the show for you. So it really matters. We really appreciate it. Check out Haley at noon, rumble.com/Haley. Vince at 8 a.m. every day, rumble.com/Vince. 2 great shows on the network here. We really appreciate it. Make sure you download the Rumble app. If you would, also follow us on Apple and Spotify. We're actually doing pretty well there, despite the fact that the video is exclusive to Rumble. So I'm pretty proud of that. Give us a shot at rumble.com/Bongino if you want to watch on the web. You can also watch on your TV, too, with the Rumble app and your smart TV. I will see you back here on Tuesday.
I'm Haley Caradia,
host of Vince,
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report.
Live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Weekdays at noon. If you miss it, no worries. The show will always be
right here
and anywhere you find podcasts. Thanks for watching.